welcome back to Shocks Talks. I'm Shakti, and today we're going to be talking about Hiding in Plain Sight. This is the book that I read this week, and it's the book that I received as a gift from Scott Gearen, who I met at Contact in the Desert 2026. So I'm going to make this episode really short today because I'm going to my energy workshop in 25 minutes. It's remote, but right now I'm really focused on energy work, really focused on my own psi abilities, my own explorations of consciousness, my creative expression as an artist and how that relates to my magic. I'm feeling very witchy. I'm feeling very tuned in to reality right now, very much in the midst of a lot of psychic growth and development, and the synchronicities are just flowing, and it's so much fun. So I'm toggling back and forth between the research and the practical application of the skills that I'm learning and my own personal experimentation with remote viewing. But I'm always reading, and I'll always be sharing what I'm reading. After this, I'm going to pivot to fiction again. I want to read the next book in the Xenogenesis series by Octavia Butler, and that is Adulthood Rights. And I just ordered that book today. Dawn was the first book which I read and covered at the beginning of this season of Shocks Talks. The playlist is called The Truth is Stranger Than Fiction. And on that note, fiction that is, we're going to be getting the new Spielberg movie this week. I'm going to see it on the 11th, the day before the grand opening day or whatever. So I'm very excited about that. And I have my tickets already. I have a friend who's going to go. I feel like I'm just going to be bawling my eyes out in the movie theater. My psychic senses tell me, though, that there will be certain things that I don't love about it. I always know that when it comes to a large, collaborative, creative project, that it's very hard to keep it pristine and pure because I work in arts and entertainment and I work on immersive exhibits that are full of beautiful, magical, wonderful art, but it's hundreds of people making these things come to life. And at every level of the company, we have people coming and going all the time. Everybody has different reasons for being there and different vibes in terms of what it is that they're doing. And some of us are very much trying to pour our hearts and souls into the work and create something of great value to share with people, to inspire people, to help them feel seen and connected and full of awe and wonder. And then there's a whole bunch of other agendas at play, as usual with life. In general, anything collaborative is going to start getting a little bit muddy. So when it comes to Hollywood and films, I find that even with some of the greatest stories, maybe the script was pristine, maybe one or two of the actors have really pure intents, or the director does, but you still have so many people working on the thing, and some of them are trying to just purely make money. Others are trying to subvert an altruistic message by tangling it up with something else that is not as important or is intended to create confusion, fear, or excitement in order to move the attention away from what really matters most. So I'm curious to analyze this film and see how much of it is working for the benefit of those who are very interested in this topic and have had experiences. Fingers are crossed. People are giving it great reviews, and maybe I will find out that it's just amazing and I love it. I'll definitely cover it on Shocks Talks after I watch that movie. So let's talk about Hiding in Plain Sight. Scott Gearen, he when I met him, it was through Jeff Nusatelli. And I just saw Jeff and I was having a drink outside at Contact and decided to start chatting him up. We talked for like an hour. He went to do an interview, and then I ended up sitting there and conversing with his friend Scott, who he had brought with him to Contact for the first time. And Scott is an Air Force legend. He has had his own near death experience that was mind blowing. It included parachuting out of an airplane or a jet of some kind. I'm sorry, I'm not good with those details. Scott, forgive me. But anyway, his buddy also was jumping, and there was some kind of malfunction with his parachute. He ended up cannonballing through Scott's, punching a hole in it, banging into his head, knocking him out. And so Scott was free falling and somehow survived. He also chatted with me about some of his interesting childhood experiences, and we both connected over all the different kinds of anomalous phenomena that we've experienced throughout our lives. Because usually, as is the case with most experiencers, there's a plethora of strange things that have occurred, and it's not just UAP sightings. But the book that he wrote and self published is all about a 3 hour long sighting. And I think this is very interesting. And this book is a treasure in many different senses. On the one hand, the event itself is very interesting and very compelling evidence here. What he's done is he's taken his 3 hours of video footage and he has isolated some still photographs that are significant. He's time stamped everything, and he basically takes you through a very straightforward report of what he was seeing and what he was thinking. So I'm just going to show you like what a page looks like, for example. Picture 1012, 11:45 and 12 seconds AM CST, Scott Gearen. This picture was taken 12 seconds after picture 1011. The bright areas have changed shapes, are in different positions on the UFO, and the intensity continues to vary. Note, the bright areas, as well as some areas of the UFO, have straight line edges. One of the first things taught in survival training is nature does not make straight lines. Do these straight lines imply this is not nature and it would therefore be manufactured by something or someone? So this is his thought process. And you can see in these two images here that you have something that looks very craft-like and then this crazy vortex of spinning that is happening that creates more of an orb-like. Actually, it looks like two rings or multiple rings. This thing is a full-on shapeshifter. So not only are the images very interesting, but it's very cool to go through his thought process because what he's doing here is he's taking his expert ability at identifying things in the sky, because that's what he's trained to do, and he's demonstrating for all of us how to write a great report. So if you are someone who likes to go out and skywatch and you want to start creating some kind of database of information, I highly suggest getting this book so that you can consider this format, because this is a very useful format for reporting and it's quick and easy to read and it's full of pictures. And he also shares some of his personal questions around this, but he takes you through what it could be, what it's not, how it relates to other creatures in nature. It's a really good neurological journey that you go on with him through this thought process that kind of shows you what types of questions to be asking and what to be considering when experiencing this type of anomalous phenomena. And I think it is very important that we write things down and take photographs and videos right away, because it's not easy to remember things. Like when I think about meeting Scott and sitting outside, I don't know what he was wearing. I can't tell you what his outfit was. I remember his facial expressions. I remember the sparkle in his eye. I think he had blue eyes. I don't know what he was drinking. I was drinking an old fashioned. He might have been sipping on a beer. Not even sure. That's how hard it is to recall details. What color was the table out there? I don't really remember, you know? So you try that sometime. Go to a restaurant you've never been to before with some friends, and without thinking too hard about it while you're there, go home and try to write down everything you remember from the scene. Colors, textures, how many people were there? What did they look like? What were they wearing? Were they tall? Were they short? You know, was there a baby? Like, it's not easy. So, in order to build up our collection of evidence to support these UAP theories, these types of offerings are really, really cool and really important. I also really love what he wrote in the beginning of this for me. He signed it and he said, "Loved meeting you, Shakti, loved meeting you. Get your childhood magic back. All the best to you." Because what we were talking about is how when we were kids, we were really open to things. And I was the kind of kid that was seeing stuff all the time. Beings, I called them fairies, angels. There were these little balls of light that I would see, even just in my schoolroom, you know. I remember just seeing what almost looked like cartoon creatures out of the corners of my eyes. And then later on, in my college years, I was having these visions that would happen and strange dream situations that were more related to like dead people, come to find out, that had passed on in the location that I was at. And I have had the hypnagogic experiences where you wake up from sleep and you're still hallucinating something from what seemed like the dream world, but now it's in waking reality, if that makes any sense. I've seen the dark hooded figures, I've seen the shadow beings. Um, I've seen a sparkling peach colored humanoid like figure that was kind of blobby looking outside of my window at an apartment that I lived at one time. I've seen things that looked like craft. Seen things that looked like creatures. I've heard voices. I've heard music. I have seen what looked like a plasma type ship landed out in a field near Fresno off the 5 freeway in California years ago. I've seen what looked like some kind of advanced military craft. I've seen things flying very low over the Pacific Ocean. I've had alien dreams, I've had alien visions in meditation and during psychoactive substance experiences. I have felt like I've channeled, I've felt like I've been possessed, I've felt like I have learned how to manage my own inner airspace and maintain my autonomy. I feel that there is a lot going on in this reality, you know? And so, one of the things that I'm really interested in now is tapping into my own human potential. And for me, I've done a great job at manifesting in my life. I've done a great job at self-healing. I've been able to provide a lot of love and support to the people that I care about and to the creatures in my life because animals are extremely important. And now I'm focusing on my meditation practice, my energy work, and just clearing my head so that I can make better intentions. And I have some energetic healing that I'm trying to do around my heart and my imagination and my third eye. I have an ongoing art practice. I've been a creative all my life, and I channel all of this into that. And I think in order to continue moving through this, whatever version of disclosure we're getting, we really need to trust ourselves and we need to know how to trust other people and who to trust and what it is that that even means. Because sometimes trust is just trusting someone to be themselves and recognizing who they are when they show you. And the same goes for institutions, and the same goes for systems. And the same may go for non human beings. Once we start interacting more and more, I think it's important to go back to something that Tom Campbell teaches, and that is that when interacting with any consciousness unit, whether physical or non physical, in whatever state, dream, drug, vision, meditation, or waking reality, don't get caught up in who you're talking to, what they look like, what story they're telling you, but really tap into the energy, the feeling, and the quality of the exchange. And it's a great metaphor to imagine chat rooms when we all first started on AOL. And I didn't even get access to that till way later. So I kind of missed the boat because we just didn't have money and we didn't have internet. And I wasn't able to like be as involved in that as all of my friends at the time it was going on. But the funny thing is, like, I always think about it as this perfect metaphor for channeling and conversing with non human intelligence because anyone can show up in a chat room and they can pick a name and they can act a certain way, but they could be a totally different person under the surface. And so you have to start, all you can measure is the quality of the exchange. What did we talk about? How did I feel afterwards? And was I able to apply that information in ways that are positive? Or was I sent on a wild goose chase, or was I left chasing my own tail? Is it just spinning me out? Did it make me afraid? Did it make me feel crazy? Did it help me grow in some kind of way? And so you have to build up your own qualifiers for these conversations that you're going to be having as you go deeper into your meditation practice or your energy work, or maybe we even start interfacing with beings through our technologies. What is happening during those exchanges? And the same is true for our interactions with humans. And then, just keep things moving. So, something that I've been hearing a lot of people talk about in the UFO communities is how there is a new wave of interest around the psionic topic and this idea of psi abilities in general. Here on Shocks Talks, you all know, I know that there's a lot going on there. We've studied it in relationship to the UFO topic. We know the remote viewing history, and we know that now it's becoming clear that none of that stuff ever stopped, and it only grew and grew underground in these secret programs, even to the point where children may have been taken at an early age through these gate programs and trained using even substances like amphetamines against their will and without parental consent to do these psionic abilities. People like Danny Sheehan are out there talking about the fact that some of the pilots who they tried to train to fly the UAP craft were given helmets where they were supposed to use psychic abilities to interface with the craft. And since they didn't have the right brain development in the way that other psionics do, it fried them. And many pilots were killed in the process of trying to learn how to pilot the UAP. If Danny Sheehan is saying that, there is truth to it. And so it's very important that we recognize that not only are people doing this, but any of us can do it. And we need to get with the program. We need to learn our own abilities and at least get a taste of it. And then all that serious stuff aside, I think in a lighter, more consciousness based perspective, I just feel like we are safe. We are in good hands. We are part of a larger system of consciousness. It's all alive. It's all listening. It's here for us. There's love, there's energy, and there's information available to us all the time from any place where we are. Everything is always here, right here with us. And all we have to do is let go of our perception of the boundaries. And as that dissolves, we have access to more of that information. So I'm really excited about the human potential that allows each of us to just take better care of ourselves and each other. And then also, it will be useful when it comes to discerning truth in times of unrest. And who knows where the picture of reality, the movie level, the kind of the drama level of reality is headed. It might not be great. Lynn Buchanan was on American Alchemy not too long ago. It was like a 3-hour interview and it was epic. I loved it so much. But towards the end, he was talking about remote viewing the future and some of the negative things that he saw. And if you take a look at where we're at in reality right now, it seems like we are headed in the direction that he had predicted during that session. But there's always opportunity to change course at any given moment. And it can happen really, really fast because the more people who come online to love and general respect and compassion, the better off we're going to be. And it's going to be interesting over the next couple of years to see where we all go together. But at least for me today, I'm just grateful to be here, grateful to have this community, grateful that we all have each other, that we share this interest. And I really want to give a shout out to anyone out there who's gone through anomalous experiences that were derailing to your life, that left you with more questions than answered, that maybe left you feeling isolated, maybe even ashamed, afraid, confused, and you've somehow managed to continue living and to take care of yourself, to feed yourself, and to hopefully be able to show up for those in your life around you. You are so strong and so beautiful, and It's going to get better and we're going to find out more and things will make sense. We don't have to have all the answers to be healthy and whole and healed and to move forward. And Chris Ramsey's been saying lately, I actually prefer more questions to more answers. It's fun to have new questions. And I'm really loving his attitude with this whole topic. I really love his trajectory and how he's taken his own interest in this and found a way to keep it light and creative and to show up with integrity and humility, but also to demonstrate ways to sanely navigate this phenomena because it can pull you in and it can be a little bit crazy making. So we have to temper that with our own community building, and that's exactly what we're doing right here. So, if you have thoughts, leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me on Shocks Talks. And maybe next time I will be talking about some Octavia Butler, or you know what? It's going to be the Spielberg movie because I'm going on Thursday. So next weekend, I'll be covering that. And there's supposed to be a big DC disclosure thing happening on the 9th with David Grush. And I think some of the Congress members who have been pushing for transparency, Anna Paulina Luna and maybe Burleson. I don't know who else is going to be there. I think News Nation will cover it. So let's keep our eyes and ears tuned to that this week and see what comes of it. And I will see you next time on Shocks Talks.